Hi, I'm Jeff Kaller, and this video is going to give you my history and a unique upcoming way that I want to work with you and how to demonstrate the true power of the spoken word. These are some of the images of the hundreds of houses that I said I would buy. Not just the word, but the declaration that you make when you make up your mind to do something. Now, I had no idea how I would do it, but I knew that I wanted to buy properties. I knew I wanted to invest in real estate. Napoleon Hill coined the phrase, whatever a mind can conceive, the mind can achieve. That was one of the very first success books that I ever read. Now, I purchased a huge portfolio of houses after I made that very statement. After I purchased my very first house, I made a declaration that there would be hundreds of others. Before making that declaration, I had no real understanding of how I would be able to do it. I'd never owned a house, I'd never bought an investment property, didn't have a clue about how to invest in real estate. I went on to show hundreds of others, and you're going to see some of their stories in a moment. This was one of the short sales that I made more than 30 grand from. I flipped this property without ever doing a thing to it and cashed a $9,000 check. I'll never forget that check. At the time, I had just graduated and I was working as a chef. I had zero experience in real estate, no credit, no money, yet figured out how to make $4,200 on this house. This was the house we flipped on Hornytown Road. Yes, that was really the name, Hornytown Road. We made $16,000. Guess you could say that Sophia and I did get pretty excited. Now, I do have a degree in resort and hotel management, but that had nothing to do with buying houses. Over the years, we started a journey on purchasing properties. I ended up purchasing every one of these homes, no money down. This is one of the rehab properties that Sophia and I made more than $75,000 on. Many of these were bank owned and we used private money. We would rehab them and rent them for cash flow. Others we would just flip. We'd flip out of them real quick. This one we made $7,500 in just 2 weeks. Some we turned into lease options. Others we creatively financed. We got creative because we acquired the knowledge that we needed. This is the synchronistic key that follows every declaration. You must acquire specialized knowledge to fulfill that declaration. After your declaration and full belief, the universe will simply start putting it together for you. It will bring people, it'll bring circumstances, and it'll bring events your way. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe and you will have it. You will receive it and it will be yours. This is one of my favorite scriptures, Mark 11, verse 22. Now, it's both biblical and secular. It's the law of the universe, and it's available to you. Sure, the critics are going to conspire against you. They're going to tell you that it can't happen, but it can happen. This was the very first short sale that we ever did. Everyone I talked to said the bank would never take less than what the seller owed, but somehow they did. The seller actually hit the lottery and had won $5 million. 2 years later, he was flat broke and his house was a pre-foreclosure. I got the bank to take the discount and I sold it for $43,000 in pure profit. You want to know how synchronistic this really was? That was the exact amount that I was making as a chef in an entire year. After I closed the deal, I did the math. At my job, it took me 365 nonstop days, working about 9.26 hours a day for 3,380 hours for the entire year. That's about $12 an hour, working about 65 hours a week. Now here's the cool part. On this deal, it took me 25 hours to get this $43,000 check. Just look at the math. That is $1,720 per hour, 143 times more than I was making at my job. Now look at the numbers. 1 is 1 year. 43 was 43, the amount that I was made on the one deal, the amount that I was making at my job. When those numbers came in, I said, this is too synchronistic. I'm going to quit. That very same week, I quit my job and I went full time. After that check, Sophia and I took a full month off with our daughter, Allie, and we drove all over Florida. This is her on the beach. Just another confirmation that the universe is at work. Along the way, we lost a house to foreclosure. This was the actual house and not the last. But you know what? Those small, insignificant details, they never change the outcome. There is always a silver lining. This is a property that I partnered on with my mom and dad, and collectively we made $52,000. I never listened to what others said because it wasn't their declaration. I also set myself free from pressures and misconceptions that I had to do it all by myself. I trusted my walk, and the world shifted itself to help my dreams become a reality. This is a little junker house that I bought for $7,200. We went out and paid cash for a car when we closed that deal. This is the same year as the foreclosure that I had. I bought this house for $95,000 and I sold it for $175,000. Now, Sophia and I got really great at partnerships. This is a second deal I did with mom and dad. They netted $32,000. I bought this house as a rehab and made $37,000. Sophia and I have always had our immediate family and extended family of student partnerships. Right now, I'd like to share some of those with you. Student, friends, and impacting partnerships. We started out having fun teaching thousands of students to help solve homeowner challenges in hundreds of events. Each event we shared strategies that brought us through this amazing journey. We met and made a ton of lifelong friends and learned to become fulfilled by simply inspiring others. Spent a lot of time just thinking about how to inspire others to their greatness. Each family we met, they had their own unique goals, their own unique desires, but we all had something in common. Everyone wants to become part of something bigger than themselves. Over the years, we did hundreds of events. Each event led to a new lasting relationship, some spanning more than 15 years. This is Kevin from Atlanta. From what we shared with him, he made over $200,000 his first year. Here's the cool part. We were the beneficiaries of being of service to others. Each time we got together, it was like a family reunion. Now, you saw some of the partnership deals I was able to do with mom and dad. It also allowed us to take some amazing trips. Some of those trips took our students to several islands in the Caribbean. Sophia and I knew that working hard with our partners also meant we had to play hard with our partners. We took some amazing road trips together. Student vacations and inspiring events. The journey we took together involved hundreds of cities and some pretty far out places. As a group, we worked and played hard. This is after an amazing day out at sea. In a moment, you're going to see the huge benefits of working together with a collective mind. It's this collective collaboration that I would like to share with you someday, whether on deals or hanging out in the Grand Cayman Islands. This was our group at Stingray Bay feeding fish. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how together we can focus on catching our next big deal. You know, partnering and working with people in real estate is just a journey of conversations. We have been blessed to have the privilege to share these conversations with some of the best people you're ever going to meet. People moving in the same direction, wanting the same things out of life. At the end of the day, it's all about education to get the sum total of who you hang around with. Join our team and I'll show you how to end your days with perfect sunsets. Training and educational events. I introduced my students to some pretty big hitters. This is Donald Trump at one of our events. This was a 700-person event where I really got to invite some of my original mentors to speak at, kind of a full circle type situation. We gave away a ton of Donald Trump board games in this image. I talked him into signing a few of them. Now, what's one of the things I consider to be my biggest claim to fame? Training a collective group that has saved more than 1 million families from losing their homes to foreclosure. I continued to promote some of the biggest names in industry that really helped catapult my career. This is Lee Miltier, national author and life coach, just a great person. This was a private charter trip that I took with Montel Williams and Marshall Silver when we went up to check out one of Montel's shows in New York City. You know, everything in life is truly about strategic relationships. This is something that I can show you how to do. This is Frank McKinney, builder of $100 million oceanfront Palm Beach mansions. I arranged some of my students to get some FaceTime with him on his private charter cross-country tour when I helped him to promote his book. My students and I helped support Frank's mission. Frank worked tirelessly in supporting starving kids through his charities. Frank is the director of the Caring House Foundation that was responsible for taking these 45 kids out of literally living in a trash dump. I was in Cap Haitian, Haiti with Frank, and I got to see these just unbearable conditions with my very own eyes. Many of these students also supported his charity, and together we were able to move homeless kids into their own sustainable village. This was the actual school that Sophia and I contributed the money to build. I respect anyone capable of building million-dollar mansions to use their time and resources in helping others. This is one of the mansions that Frank built. Sophia and I have had the privilege to teach and hang out with some of the most amazing people you're ever going to have an opportunity to meet. This is Sophia with Jeff Watson on their week in Washington, meeting with members of Congress about how we help people with short sales. It was really a no-brainer for thousands of us who invested in lobbying to protect the strategies we designed over 25 years ago. So if you want to learn how to make a difference in this world, start by investing in yourself. Here's my mentor, my original marketing mentor, Dan Kennedy, whom we have paid well over $75,000 in just 1 year. It was this event that we had as business partner and legend, marketing extraordinaire Bill Glazer. We look for partners and valuable people. This is Mark Victor Hansen and I looking at a $35 million house. This property is in a super prestigious area of California. Mark Victor Hansen is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul and the largest franchise of its kind in the world. Chicken Soup for the Soul is one of the largest, most successful publishing franchises in the world today. More than 500 books sold and more than 100 licensed products. Sophia and I continue to invite our original mentor to some of our events. This is Ron LeGrand. We spent over $100,000 learning from him over our first years. Ways we motivate our students. We motivate our students through partnering on properties. This is one transaction that made us more than 40 grand. We also created the infamous 95ers Club. Dozens of us who made $95,000 on one deal. This is the...
As you can see, this is my 95er jersey. Whenever you cash a check for $95,000, guess what we do? We send you a jersey. We're so excited. Here's a check right here on this wall for $239,000 from Hunter down in Orlando, Florida. We've got checks that go on $58,000. No, they didn't make the 95er Club, but I think we still sent them a jersey. We did send Tom Casey and Todd Casey here $135,682.87. Here's Kimberly Frank up in Michigan, $106,000, $11.29. I didn't know there was a $100,000 deal in Michigan, but obviously there was. I mean, we could go on and on. Here's Scott down in Tampa, $162,000. Again, guys, you know, these checks could just be outrageous. Maybe you'll never hit a check. You know, maybe there's 1 in 1,000 people. We don't track it because I don't sit and track to see who does what. But I know I got these checks, right? I know I've got these on my wall. So what if you just launch into a $500,000-$600,000 luxury house and you take our easy to follow templates and you follow those templates and you do exactly what we say we ask you to do, and you partner with us where we're doing 97% of the work. You think you might get to a little old 20 or 15 or maybe even a $5,000 check?
Now, given the chance and working with you, I can get you to a much bigger check. Here's one of my cars I gave away to one of my various partners. I called this car contest the infamous Better Your Best contest, where we had 4 teams of students, about 45 students, collectively and individually competing for the car. The winning group accumulated just over $2.4 million in profits over a 180-day period. That's 6 months. Imagine that. Do the math. 45 people making an average of $53,333 in 6 months. Who wouldn't be happy with that? There were also 10 runner-ups for my Hummer, and Stevie and Pauline took the prize for one of my $74,000 fully loaded magnificent Hummers. You know, it's kind of funny. Speaking of gas-guzzling Hummers, my real estate career has also led me to designing and launching energy and food sustainable communities. So we went from giving away these types of cars to designing these types of conservation communities. It really just all goes back to what you focus on, making that declaration, making that commitment to what's important to you. That's something that I can show you how to master when you fill out the application below. Now back to these design communities. They don't even allow gas-powered cars. So I just gave away my Hummers. At that time in my life, giving away the cars, it worked as a motivator. Next contest, I'll probably be looking at giving away a lifetime membership in a sustainable, low-carbon community. Full access to beyond organic foods and renewable energy. That's what I'm talking about right here. I don't promote real estate seminar events any longer, but I do promote happiness and well-being. Now I go back to thinking about all the cool ways that we came up with how to inspire people to really become their best. This is an event we did near the beach with a tight-knit group of, I think, about 47 students. Knowing how to inspire people comes from getting to know them personally. Seeing what makes them tick as an individual, you can get in their minds and you can start to create a real structure for existence. Each person, each couple, each family, that can mean something different. By providing the environment and the space for this inspiration, I have seen hundreds of my students become more confident in creating what I call a new reality. Sometimes the new reality comes from connecting like-minded, motivated people collaboratively together. Other times, it's just introducing people to sheer beauty. And then again, it may just be about learning how to hook the right opportunity. Each of us individually doing our part, understanding that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And what I mean about that statement is that people working together can do more work than if individual efforts were added together. Oh yeah, the student group that we coached, who collectively closed that $2.4 million in that 180-day period, I ended up taking them to this estate. This is the house and inspiration of James Deering. Deering McCormick, International Harvester Fortune. Guy was amazing. Here's another useful distinction. We use our knowledge and capital from the marketing to buy houses, to also do mission trips, and of course, help others. This is a trip with one of my nephews, Jacob, down on a trip that we went to Chichen Itza, Mexico. Chichen Itza was one of the largest Mayan cities. It was said to have some of the most diverse population in the Mayan world. This is my other nephew, Todd, installing a water system for an entire village just a few miles from the pyramids we visited at Chichen Itza. So by inspiring others to make money in real estate, we help this country, its wounded economy. Then we can focus on how to help others. Before considering working with me, I thought you might want to know a little bit about who I am and what I stand for. Go ahead and register and I'll give you direct access to how I can help make your personal dreams a reality. And get ready for an explosive